Well, when Jacob was 2, he was diagnosed with moderate to severe autism. And at that time, they told us he would probably never read, probably never tie his shoes, and he was put in a special ed program. So.
And difficult times. I've read your book, Extraordinary Times. You kind of stopped talking, didn't you?
Yes.
But it turns out, and your mum found this out after lots of hard work, that in fact you were doing an awful lot of thinking. Mm-hmm. What were you doing? It's easy to explain.
I must have been doing some kind of mathematics back then.
So you were doing maths?
Yeah.
Age 2 or 3, and you realised that something quite extraordinary was going on, didn't you, when he was, what, about 4?
Yes, well, he was in a very strict therapy program, and he was doing many hours of therapy a week, just working on his lower skills and trying to get them up, you know, trying to get him to talk again and things like that. And then, when he wasn't in therapy, I noticed him doing spectacular things, like he would recreate maps all across our floor using Q-tips. And they would be maps of places we'd visited, and he would memorize every street. And he would recite the alphabet forwards and backwards, and learn to speak in about 4 different languages when he started talking again to me.
Jacob, do you remember that time? Do you remember when you were doing this?
Slightly.
Yeah. So what is your recollection of what was going on?
So, I mean, at the time, I used to get out like this little string, and I used to wrap it all around the room and make all these little patterns. But I don't know. Now I think back to it, it must have just looked like a mess.
Did you know what it meant to you? I mean, at the time.
Yeah, you know, they were interesting little patterns.
And these are proper mathematical patterns, which people have spent many years working out, and you had worked them out.
Yes.
Just amazing.
Who was the first person who realised that Jacob had something very special in terms of his mathematical powers of working things out?
When he was about 3 years old, I took him out into the country, and we went out under the stars, and he was not talking yet, and I really wanted him to have normal, typical childhood experiences. And so I took him out, and we laid on the roof of the car, we played jazz music, and we just had a wonderful mother-son time, dance together. And then a few months after that, we went to a local planetarium, and a professor there asked a question about the size of the planets, or the moons going around Mars, and the relative masses and complicated concepts in physics. And Jacob's little hand shot up, and he answered the questions.
Age 4.
Age 3.5.
3.5.
Because you just knew things, did you? It was just straight away in your head.
Yeah.
Things that the rest of us struggle for hours to work out just comes
I mean, the problem with the lecture, it was trivial. It was just some...
That's okay. You can say that.
So other people are finding it difficult, and straight away things make sense to you. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I guess so.
So tell us about now. So you went to university when you were about 11. You're studying. What are you studying? You're going to study a PhD in.
I'm studying condensed matter physics. Specifically, I'm studying these PT symmetric lattices. It's like a quantum system, but if you reverse it in space and time, it's the same. So it's cool.
Okay, and you worked that out, did you yourself, or?
I'm working on it with my advisor.
Having read the book, what's amazing about this story, Christine, is that, you know, here was this child who wasn't speaking, who was on a sort of a completely different track, and you have managed to realise that. There are so many parents out there with children suffering from, I don't know, Asperger's or autism. What is your advice to them? I mean, they're obviously not all going to be geniuses, but what's your advice?
Well, I think that every child is beautiful, and every child has a special gift inside of them. Regardless of what difficulties you face, or if you're a little bit different. And so with Jacob, it was just a matter of finding that and tuning into it. And I operate off of a concept called muchness, which is just surrounding children with things they love, be it music or art, whatever they're drawn to and love.